and in the NFL. Come along as they give you an inside look into the Crimson Tide and more. Catch us Monday from 7 to 8 Central on Tide100.9.com and TiderInsider.com and all your social media platforms for Inside the Trenches.
See, I'm from Big Bama, you're not the little one. We got smoke for anybody that wants some. Yeah, we don't do no yapping. And we
Welcome in to Inside the Trenches for this Monday, November 17th, 2025. I'm Gary Harris. The podcast stars Wallace Gilberry and Andre Smith and features Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. And it's unfortunately not a Victory Monday. It's been a while since we haven't had a Victory Monday. And we're celebrating a opportunity to get a victory coming up Saturday, but not. And I'm going to turn it over to the guys really quickly here. I'm going to set this up by reading the stats because the stats, as we know, always, sometimes they don't tell the story. The score was 23-21 Oklahoma. That's all that really matters. But Alabama had a 406 to 212 total yard advantage, 326 passing yards to 138, even outrushed the Sooners. So let's talk about the rushing game, but 80 to 74. Yards per play, 5.4 to 4.2. First downs, 23 to 12. Third down efficiency, better, 5 of 13 to 3 of 13. Fourth down efficiency, 2 of 3. Oklahoma didn't have to go for it on fourth down. Total plays, 75 to 51. But where it got tricky, turnovers, 3 to none. And Oklahoma cashed in on every one of those turnovers for points. Special teams, a major advantage for Oklahoma in the game. And Oklahoma's defensive front harassed Ty Simpson. And we'll get into this with the guys. But I do agree with what Brent Venables said after the game. Somebody pointed out the stats and said, well, he said, yeah, if this hadn't happened, that hadn't happened and all this. But he said it did happen. And we caused it to happen. We forced those turnovers. We forced those bad decisions by the quarterback. And he's right. They got after Alabama. And it's the second year in a row they've been able to do it. It's the second year in a row they got a pick six. Second year in a row they forced multiple turnovers. And even though their offense didn't have to do a lot, their offense cashed in. Their longest drive was 41 yards. They played on a short field. They got a pick six for 87 yards. So at the end of the day, Alabama did a lot of good things. Alabama's offense moved the football. Alabama's defense played really, really well, considering they had a pick six and they had short fields all day. But we'll start with Wallace, and then we'll work it around the panel. But Wallace, at the end of the day, a team that was plus 10 in the turnover differential played a team that was minus 5, and that told the story. Alabama had too many miscues to beat a quality football team, and it bit them in the end. Wallace, mic up. Hang on. We're not getting you, Wallace. Is it on? It's on here. It's on this end. All right, let's see if we can get Wallace straightened out. Let me go on to Rodney. Rodney, while Wallace figures out what's going on with the audio here. You heard me set it up. Yeah, there's Wallace. All right, Wallace, you're up now.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
But like I was saying, Gary, you hit it spot on. When you read those numbers out and you close your eyes, you would think Alabama with the victory. But the mistakes that we made, they capitalize on. And so you never can beat a team when you're on the opposite end of the mistakes and when you're on the receiving end of the score. So, I mean, honestly, we played it good enough to beat Oklahoma without a doubt. But again, when you make those kind of penalties and the team capitalize off of them, it kind of makes it hard to rebound and put that W on our side.
And Gil, what even makes it more disappointing, I think, is that Alabama, had kind of stewed on this for a year. Oklahoma knocked them out of the playoff last year. And then you came back. Yeah, you didn't play well the last couple of games against South Carolina and LSU, and you kind of felt like Alabama was pointing toward this game. And I thought they would be so ready to play, and they were ready to play. But can you beat two?
I felt like Oklahoma had more energy, Gary. I felt like Oklahoma wanted it more than we did, and they came out way more physical than that, and we couldn't recover from their physicality. They put on and they kept it on us, and the defense did great. I mean, the defense that I felt like we was on the field. Me and Rodney spoke on this earlier. I felt like the defense was on the field a little longer than what I anticipated, but at the same time, Ty got to hold on to the ball. He has the ball is that's the That's de la creme. You know, you have to protect that at all costs. And I just feel like we're putting it on the ground too much.
Rod, I think Wallace is dead on in his analysis, but you were on my radio show this morning. And again, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because of what this team had done to this point. And then you've got them at home. You were steamed a little bit over what happened last year. And you have to say this, Alabama's got Georgia's number. Georgia has Texas's number. It appears that Brent Venables in Oklahoma, even going back to before Brent Venables, has Alabama's number.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, when you talk about 2002, 2003, then they beat Alabama in the bowl game, and then you win these two back to back. I mean, yeah, it does look like Oklahoma does. And you really, to be honest with you, I thought Alabama had the better team last year. Obviously, they didn't play well. They had the 2 interceptions that really turned the game around. Then this game, a lot of people said, well, Rodney, you were really confident. I had people on Tighter Insider asking about why were you confident? Well, I think what we saw, kind of what Wallace said, we saw it play out. Alabama was the better team, but Alabama made the mistakes. Oklahoma didn't. Oklahoma capitalized. Now, here's what I really thought. I thought, when I watched the game, Gary, and I told you this morning on your show that as I watched the game and thought about it, it wasn't just the fumbles. It was Alabama lost the ball a few times. Oklahoma knocked it off of them several times that Alabama recovered. And to me, I'm thinking, you know what? They physically beat Alabama. They out-hit Alabama. Now, I'm not talking about Alabama's defense. Alabama's defense they played a fantastic game, in my opinion. But when you look at special teams, you get hit, you fumbled. You fumble from the pocket again. This is the 5th straight game Ty Simpson's fumbled from the pocket. You look at the other times that they knocked the ball loose that Alabama got it back. So there were a lot of things that happened there. To me, Oklahoma's defense out-physicaled Alabama's offense and special teams for that matter.
Wallace, I got to ask you this, and it's a tough question, and you answer it honestly. I'm not trying to be difficult here, but it does, so much talk about the running game. Okay. Can't get the running game going. And you played here. Rodney's covered the program for 30, 40 years. I have as well. Alabama football has traditionally been built, regardless of who the offensive coordinator was or the offense, it's been built on physicality and the ability to run the ball. Now we hear, well, they can't run the ball. But I have to ask you, I know a couple of years ago they had an 1,100-yard rusher at Washington, but that was in like 15 games. Last year, Ryan Grill was the offensive coordinator of Seattle Seahawks, and they let him go after 1 year because the Seattle Seahawks didn't run the ball. They couldn't run the ball well. I wonder, it's easy to say they can't run the ball, but is that what this offense is? Is that what this mentality is? I mean, running the ball to complement the passing game. I don't know that – I just don't feel like that running the ball is a priority for this offensive staff. I'm going to ask you that question.
You can take it back to Seattle. They were at times, again, they were inconsistent running the ball. And a lot of times people they targeted Geno Smith. They put a lot on him. And now, Groves removed from Seattle and now at Alabama, and we're kind of seeing the same. It goes to think. I mean, does it start with the offensive coordinator? Is this the reason the holes on where they are and the guys can't get what they can get? But you can't really sit there and say that. You have to, being a student of the game and also being a player of the game, it's almost a double-edged sword because at the end of the day, regardless of what play is called, you got to go out and beat the man in front of you. You got to go out and block the man in front of you and get the job done. And I just don't see our fronters doing that. And at times I don't see Jan Miller hitting the hole, getting that job done either.
Ronnie, I saw some post analysis there's so many of these analysts now that pointed out what Wallace was saying, that there was a hole here, the back didn't hit it. There was a hole here, back didn't see it. So there has been some of that, but if you pointed out on your website, TighterInsider.com, and you've taken a little heat for it, you're not saying that doesn't mean they're going to not run the ball, but this is a quarterback centric offense. That's what like Wallace just said. Geno Smith last year had the best year of his career under Ryan Grubb, but they still let Ryan Grubb go because the head coach, Mike McDonald, wanted to be more physical and run the football, and Geno Smith left as well. We're seeing some of that with Alabama this year, and that Ty Simpson, even in this game, with the mistakes, put up 326 yards of passing. So again, I'm following up with you with Wallace. Is it they can't run the ball, or they just aren't as committed to running the ball as you need to?
You know, here's the thing, and this is their offense, and this is, if you go look at the history, and this is what I posted on TiderInsider.com on Sunday, and a lot of people were like surprised by it, but this is their offense. It's a pass-first offense. It's a quarterback-centric offense. You knew that. Most people knew that, but this is what they do. So the fact that they're not really running the ball numbers-wise really well is not because it's not, you know, they use the run to kind of complement the pass a little bit. So I think if they can get 125 yards to 150 out of their run game, they're pleased. They want to be able to throw the football, make explosive plays, and they've even used the passing game in a way to control the football this year. So you know, it's just their offense. And you know, here's the thing. And a lot of people are saying, well, they're putting a lot on Ty. Well, if you want to play quarterback in this system, you should expect that you're going to have a lot on your shoulders. You've got to be able to make the throws. You've got to be able to avoid the mistakes, and you've got to be able to bounce back from mistakes. You can't hold on to a bad play because you're going to make some bad plays, because there are a lot of opportunities that you're going to be given to make plays, and inevitably you're going to make some bad ones, right? So you got to be able to overcome that. And I think that's the real thing Ty's struggling with right now. He's made some plays, Gary, and he's carried them on to later in the game.
Wallace, you used this line, I think, a week or two ago, and we hear it all the time in the NFL. You're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. Now, hear me out. I do the post-game press conferences every week. Rodney does too.
Good job.
Thank you. And then we hear the players and we talk with them. This has been going on now for several weeks in the post-game press conference. The fumbles, Coach DeBoer. Well, he's got to get it out of his hand. He's got to throw it. He's got to throw it away. There's nothing wrong with punting. We got to live to play another day. Ty continues to say the same thing. You know, I can't be so obsessed with making a play. How many reminders do you need? You already said it. This is 5 straight games with a quarterback fumble that the other team has taken possession over. I mean, at some point, you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. If you know this is an issue, fix it. Quit holding on to the ball and allowing it to get knocked out of your hand. How many reminders do you need?
And honestly, it goes back to what we were saying in training camp. But those are drills that you work on in the offseason. You know, ball security. I'm sure the quarterback works on those same drills as running backs do. You see them going through the gauntlet. And not to say that, you know, the quarterbacks are not getting the proper, you know, coaching on ball security. But I mean, it's not a problem until it's a problem. And we said this last week, you know, football doesn't really start until November, but you want to put yourself in position to make those games in November count. And guys, we're not in position to drop in these games. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, easy one coming up this Saturday, and I say easy. It could be a sleeper game, but the Iron Bowl is not going to be easy, regardless of how people feel and how people think. Like, people go to Alabama to play in the SEC championship. People go to Auburn to beat Alabama. So I mean, it's a totally different mindset. You know, it's a totally different mindset. So I just want to throw that out there. I don't think that the season is you know, we're going to walk our way into the playoffs here. Like, we still got some ball left.
No doubt. I mean, that's going to be a tough game. And look, Kalen DeBoer's never experienced that. He's never experienced that atmosphere and that environment down there. I think it's going to be something that probably, like Wallace said, especially when Alabama, you know, goes down there to play. And they're gizzed up right now. They think they're going to beat Alabama. They think they've got a chance to do that, and that certainly would make their season.
You mentioned both of you. Now, we brought up Auburn, and we're going to have.
You want to hear from Ty really quick after the game?
Yeah, sure. If you got Ty queued up, Bob, go ahead and roll Ty Saturday night. Sure.
Like stuff that we hadn't seen before. And you know, I got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. I think we all need to do a better job of taking the ball and taking care of the ball on offense. Because that's what killed us, right? You know, I don't think they had any turnovers. We had 3. So yeah.
There it is. That's what we were talking about. I mean, he says he's been saying that every week, and yet it has not improved. That leads me into what I was going to ask Wallace and Rod. And that is, obviously, Auburn has a good defense. They've proven that. Oklahoma's got a very good defense. Listen, man, it's a copycat league. There's things that Oklahoma did in that game to affect Alabama that, you know, Wallace, that Auburn's going to put in their game plan. Alabama's going to have to be better offensively. Forget how many yards they had. And they're going to have to be more efficient. They have to take better care of the ball, or we could get the same result in 2 weeks down at Auburn.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be honest, even though our defense played pretty good to win the game, we still struggled with that quarterback run. I mean, it was times where, he had, and he had other times to run, and he just chose to throw the ball. So, and again, like you say, Gary, this is a copycat league. So I'm sure Auburn is looking at that and saying, okay, let's, get our guys screaming down the field and, put our quarterback in a 1st and 5, a 3rd and 2 situation. So, I'm not overlooking, this opponent here Saturday, but again, we can't overlook it because the Iron Bowl is our season is dependent on it at this point. I would say, wouldn't you, Rodney?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. I mean, and you talked about putting their quarterback in a great position to run the ball. Both those guys, Jackson Arnold and the other kid, Daniels, they can run the ball really well. They've been effective running. Obviously, Jackson Arnold had 131 yards against Alabama last year when he was at OU. So, I mean, I think that's a real concern.
All right, guys, we got to get to the break. Bob's telling me it's time to take a break. And let me go ahead and give out the phone number. We do take calls on this podcast, unlike most podcasts. If you want to give us a ring and talk with Wallace, talk with Rodney, and Wallace, is Dre going to be able to join us in a little bit? All right, hopefully Dre will be able to join us here in a little bit. But 205-339-4953 is the number, 205-339-4953 if you want to give us a call. All right, this is Inside the Trenches. We're live on Tide 100.9 FM, 1230 AM WTBC. The Inside the Trenches YouTube channel, and we'll be available wherever you get your podcast. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Labor Day has come and gone, but the best beach days are ahead of you on the Alabama Gulf Coast now through Thanksgiving. No one wants to work on vacation, so let iBeach Service do it for you. They'll set up your chairs, umbrellas, and canopies every morning and take them down every evening so you can soak up the calm, the sun, and the peace you deserve. For more information, you can call us at 251-504-0097 or visit us online at ibeachservice.com.
The Law Tigers is once again giving away a custom-built Crimson Tide motorcycle to one lucky fan. This one-of-a-kind bike is a tribute to your favorite team and was built by Area 51 Custom. Go to crimsontidebike.com now for your chance to win.
The fall is a great time to come have a ball at the beach. This is Hunter Harrelson, owner of Beach Ball Properties, letting you know that we have dozens of great condos and houses waiting for you to come down and take advantage of reduced rates, less traffic, no waiting at restaurants, and the beautiful fall weather here in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Check us out at beachballproperties.com, on Facebook, or call us at 251-968-8896. If you have an investment property, I would love the opportunity to discuss how we can be the best owner-friendly deal on the coast. Come have a ball at the beach.
Hi, I'm Chris Stewart. Now is the time to pick out your next vehicle at Townsend Honda. We've got pre-owned vehicles backed by Townsend Certified Protection. Not just Hondas, our pre-owned vehicles are covered with 12-month, 12,000-mile exclusionary coverage. Get new car protection on pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get low financing rates. Make no payments for 90 days. And we'll make your first payment for you.
That's no payments until after the holidays.
Townsend Honda, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Townsend Certified, available on qualified pre-owned vehicles. Financing with approved credit. Some offers cannot be combined. See dealer for details.
It's time for something new. It's time for something different. And how do you do that? The only way you can, with a Hype Stick Shaker. Hype Fan has partnered with Children's of Alabama to bring this to you, the Bama Faithful. For a $20 donation, you too can bring the hype. Go to hypestick.com. Again, that's hypestick.com. Or find them on Instagram. Make your donation and choose your hype stick today. Don't wait. Do it now. Roll Tide. Partial proceeds go to Children's of Alabama Hospital.
Black Friday savings are here at the Home Depot, which means it's time to add new cordless power to your collection. Right now, when you buy a select battery kit from one of our top brands like Ryobi or Milwaukee, you'll get a select tool from that same brand for free. Click into one of our best deals of the season and stock up on tools for all your upcoming projects. Get Black Friday savings happening now at the Home Depot. Limit 1 per transaction. Exclusions apply. Full eligible tool list in-store and online.
Your home for Alabama Crimson Tide football. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Football is back. Join former Alabama standouts Wallace Gilberry and Andre Smith alongside Tiger insiders Rodney Orr and Gary Harris every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Central as Wallace and Andre take you inside their time in the Crimson and White and in the NFL. Come along as they give you an inside look into the Crimson Tide and more. Catch us Monday from 7 to 8 Central on Tide100.9.com and TiderInsider.com and all your social media platforms for Inside the Trenches.
Yeah, I'm from Big Bama, you're not the little one. We got smoke for anybody that wants some.
7:21, we're back on Inside the Trenches, starring Wallace Gilberry and Andre Smith, and featuring Rodney Orr, our host. And we've got a guest coming up in just a little bit. Looking forward. Wallace has set us up with a good football player from Eastern Illinois that was a really nice player. Niall Hill will be with us. He's going to come down for the game, so Wallace will be visiting with him. Right now, Wallace, while we got a minute before we get back into the football talk, we're coming out of our break here, but go ahead and, as you do every week, and fill the listeners in on some good sponsors that are helping us get this podcast on every week. And also, if people want to get involved, how they can do that. Take a couple of minutes here to kind of fill everybody in.
Our guys at Law Tigers, we just completed the bike giveaway. I'm not sure who won the bike, but hopefully it's someone from the great state of Alabama. They just ended that drawing on the 15th. And we still have our beach ball property sponsors, our iBeach sponsors, our Billy's Burgers. And again, every week, we're open to entertain more sponsors, doing more business with great people out throughout the state of Alabama and surrounding areas. The partnership is amazing. We go above and beyond what is asked of us. And so feel free to come out and give us a try, and hopefully you like what you get.
All right, awesome. All right, let's get back to football. And the Oklahoma game is over. Win or lose, you have to move on. Wallace, it does change the dynamic a little bit in the sense that if you had won that game, you're a lock for the playoff. As you said, and this is not disrespecting Eastern Illinois on Saturday, senior day at 1 o'clock. Alabama should win that football game. So you're going to be 9-2 and 6-1 in the SEC when you go to Auburn. But the reality of it is that you very well may have to win that game to make it into the college football playoff. You can still possibly go to the SEC championship game. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that game. So now the dynamic has changed by losing this past Saturday. How does this work this week? You've been through it. You've got Auburn coming up. They were on a bye last week. They've got Mercer, who's, by the way, a pretty good football team, but still, they're going to be working on Alabama. That's the only chance they've got to save a season that has been, quite frankly, horrible. They're 1-6 in the league. How does Alabama prepare this week? How much time is spent on Eastern Illinois, and how much time is spent on Auburn, in your opinion?
In my opinion, Gary, how I've seen it play out in my days at Bama and in my time in the NFL, whenever you're playing a lesser opponent, you don't overlook them because you have to respect the game. I mean, you have to. Anybody can win, as they say, any given Saturday, any given Sunday, whatever the case may be. But you also too have to put it in perspective. You have to address the elephant in the room. And right now, the elephant in the room is Auburn. So I would think, we would spend the latter part of the practice, just working on our hot 20 plays that we would, come out the game with. And then I think we would switch over and focus more on, Auburn, what we're going to see, what we've seen them do in the past, what we've seen them do this year, tendency-wise, and kind of tailor that to where, when we're starting off from Auburn week, it's not a shocker. We're kind of just steamrolling on to what, adding on to more defense. Because actually, it gives you more time to put more plays in. It gives you more time to put more checks in. And it gives you more time to get more kind of spicy with your play calling. So, teams do look ahead when you're playing lesser opponents before the elephant in the room. They absolutely do.
Wallace, I had an interesting conversation today with a coach who talked about preparation like this, like the setup that Gary gave you with, you've got Eastern Illinois this week, you've got Auburn. So how do you kind of manage that? And he said, look, there's a lot of times what we did was we worked on in this case, Auburn, and our players didn't even really know it. We didn't tell them that we weren't working on Eastern Illinois. We just worked on Auburn and, because the mindset, you want the mindset to be there. So there was a lot of times that the players didn't even know that they were actually working on Auburn rather than the upcoming opponent.
Wow. A game like this, Rodney, you probably can get away with that, but a much greater opponent, that's kind of scary because at the end of the day, you still want to be familiar with those looks. And if a team's going out there and they're giving you some looks you haven't seen, and you look up and they just hung 25 points on you, it can get kind of scary. But I've seen that.
You can go back to Georgia Southern, Wallace, in 2011. Now, Alabama, granted, that was an incredible defense. They had 4 or 5 starters out that day. But it's like Saban said with the tin horn. I mean, Gary and I sit up there in the press box and,
couldn't stop him.
Hey, I had to calm Gary down a few times.
I'm telling you, man, I still think more teams ought to run the triple option.
They ran over 300 yards
They
against
sure
that
did.
defense.
And that was a great defensive football team. A great defensive football team. All right, let me ask you this, Wallace. You mentioned Eastern Illinois. You want to respect the game. And I guess, too, when you're coming off a stretch, the last 3 games, Alabama hasn't been particularly sharp. Fortunate to win at South Carolina. Didn't play great against LSU. Got beat by Oklahoma. Don't you want to play well Saturday? Be sharp. Feel like you're hitting on all cylinders going in the Iron Bowl. That's reason to want to prepare well this week for your opponent as well, right? I mean, you want to be feeling like you're getting better and you're hitting on all cylinders. There he is. There you are, Wallace. Right? I mean, there's reason to want to play well on Saturday.
Absolutely. This game right here it's almost like a well-dressed practice. You're not hitting your guys and you're getting to, get some blood flowing. A lot of these guys, they got a bad taste in their mouth because of what happened last week. And again, the defense don't really have too much to hang their head down about. I mean, the guys played good ball. You can't, certain mistakes and certain turnovers on certain, positions of the field, it's hard to get over. And so I think that's what we got to understand too as a defense. You can have a great game like that and still come away with a loss, because football is a team sport, and that shows you how of a team sport it is. You have to have all 3 components, offense, defense, and special teams clicking together when you're playing good ball. And we are playing good ball, but again, like we said, Oklahoma just wanted a little more than what we did.
Ronnie, you and I have sat in the press box for a lot of these, the game before the Iron Bowl. As you said, there have been some opponents that came in here and gave Alabama trouble. Most of the time it's been an easy win, but not always. But still, it's senior day. It's the final home game of the season. Say what you want about the opponent. I mean, if you're a senior football player, well, not necessarily now because guys need to find a way to come back. But for the most part, for a lot of guys, this will be their final home game at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday. So that ought to be incentive to play well. And like I said, I think they need to clean some stuff up, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think you're right. I think that, you want to start fast, play well, get that first quarter. And I was talking to someone on the way in, talking how much does Ty Simpson play in this game? I think maybe you get him a quarter, get him some rhythm, hopefully have a couple, 2 or 3 touchdown lead after the end of the first quarter. And then you start, the question is then how much are you going to play Keelan Russell and Austin Mack and some of the other guys? And you look at this staff, I think they're going to do it a lot different than Saban. Saban was still reluctant even in these games. It took him a while to get the backups in, but I think we'll start seeing them play a lot because you see a rotation anyway. And I think we'll continue to see even more quickly in this game.
All right, Rod. Wallace, as I said, has got us a guest lined up, and this is going to be very interesting. Niall Hill played safety and wide receiver at Eastern Illinois. He's coming down for the game. And Wallace, take it over.
Niall, you there with us?
Niall.
Yes.
Yeah, you're on Inside the Trenches with Wallace Gilberry, Andre Smith, Rodney Orr, and Gary Harris. Good evening. How are you?
I'm good. I'm honored. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Good to have you. All right, Wallace.
Now, how you doing tonight?
He's not
I don't
hearing.
think he can hear me, Bob.
Yeah, he can hear you now, Wallace. Go ahead.
Now, how we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I spoke with you earlier. You told me you and a couple of guys may be coming down to Tuscaloosa, man. So give us that, man. What went into that, making that decision? And then first, let's back up. Give us a little bit of a background on yourself and your time with the Panthers.
Yeah. So I got there in fall of 2019. I've been playing football ever since I was super little. My first football number was actually number 92. I wanted to be like my big cousin who was at the time playing at University of Alabama. So
right.
ever since coming down to watch you play, I think my first time seeing was the Senior Bowl, And so ever since then, I've been, wanting to play football, college football. And so I walked on at Eastern Illinois University. They gave me the only Division I opportunity. And I, bounced around a couple positions. And then my senior year, I got switched to wide receiver. And I earned a full scholarship that year. And I went on to be the leading receiver for the year for the team and everything. So I had a great time at Eastern. And it was awesome. So while I was there, we actually had our first SEC opponent in about 10, 20 years. And it was on South Carolina. They were opening up with their new stadium, new head coach. And it was just awesome game, awesome experience to be under those lights, big bright lights on the SEC field. You're looking to see all thousands of people, which is something that we never get to see. And so when we saw that, Alabama was on the schedule, the guys who aren't playing anymore, like, man, we got to go down there and see what it's like, on the stadium field, Bryant-Denny Stadium. So it's just a super cool opportunity. And we all wish that we were still playing so we can, go against those Alabama dudes and see how we shape up.
Man, with all this NIL, man, you guys should have figured out a way to get y'all another year, man.
Yeah, I know, right? We was all trying to see how we can stay a couple more years to finally, go down there. But yeah, we're gonna go down there and be on the field and stuff and chirp those guys and try to get them hyped up.
So now you didn't get to come down here and watch Wallace play?
Yeah, well, I did. I think a couple times, but the one time that I can remember because I was really young, it was his senior bowl game. And so, but I saw him, playing the NFL and things of that nature. I was a little bit older then, which I can't remember, but yeah.
And tell us what you're doing now, so the people out here can understand the connection.
Of course, yeah. So now I work with a collegiate sales. I work with big time universities like LSU, Alabama, Tulane, and other schools like that, doing a lot of their merchandise, where all their logoed apparel, branded giveaways, things of that nature. And so I actually did some apparel for a co-branded apparel piece for EIU and Alabama, because we have both licensed things for the schools. And so it's a t-shirt, long sleeve, a hoodie, and certain things with the old type of game day shirt that I remember getting.
Where can the fans go to get some gear now?
Yeah, so I have a link that I can share.
Yeah, go ahead. You got people listening. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's let me see what is it called.
Yeah, get that out there, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's EIU Game Day shop.ccbrands.com, and you can go on there and get
give it to us one more time now. One more time.
Yeah, it's EIU Game Day shop.ccbrands.com. And on that shop, you can go on there and see the co-branded materials. Pretty cool. Got the helmets on there and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's kind of what we do, with a lot of colleges and stuff. And so I have the opportunity to go down there and kind of, have my merchandise as well, to kind of show off and give people as well. So we are looking forward to it. It's an awesome trip.
No, this is Gary here. Yeah, I want to ask a question, Wallace, before we wrap it up, because you already alluded to this a little bit, but for guys at Eastern Illinois, playing hard every week, putting in just as much work as the SEC players are, but like you said, you mentioned the South Carolina experience. To have an opportunity on this one Saturday to play in a stadium like this, and I think the greatest tradition in college football history. How big a deal is it for these guys to get this opportunity? Win or lose the game. First of all, it's going to be a good payout for Eastern Illinois, money that they need for the athletic department. But for these young men, the opportunity to play in this environment against this team, how big a deal is that?
It's I can't even stress enough. I can't even find the words to really explain, how big of a deal this is for us. At a small D1 like Eastern Illinois, we all dream of going Power 5, the big time schools, SEC, and then we see Alabama on the schedule, and that's creme de la crop. That's the top of the tiers as far as it goes. And so this is just everything you've been dreaming about your whole life. Finally get that opportunity to go on SEC Network and show your stuff and really compete against the best. A lot of those guys go on and play at the next level and stuff. So it's really almost everything you've been wanting your whole life. I remember how stoked we were to go play South Carolina, which is one of the bottom teams as far as SEC goes. But these guys are going to play Alabama. I can't even describe how excited we are to go down there and compete and really bring the EIU legacy down there to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
And now a question before you go: how many of your fans you think will travel to Tuscaloosa this weekend? How many of you guys think will come down this weekend? Are you guys a big traveling team?
As the team people, the guys who are playing, or like alumni?
No, just the fans, just your fans.
I think it'll be around 100 to 150. I think the people coming.
Okay.
Not including parents. Not including parents.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, we're looking forward to it. And
should be some tickets available then, huh, Rodney?
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, we're looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, Niall, man, we appreciate it, and
of course,
absolutely,
and looking forward to you having a positive experience here on Saturday, and we may get Wallace to get you back on just to maybe recap what it was like. Come down here and be a part of that. Thank you so much.
Of course. No, I thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you, Wallace. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Niall.
Absolutely.
Good
Now,
stuff,
thank you.
Wallace. That's good stuff, man. That's unique insight.
Yeah, it
Again,
really
to
is.
get a guy who played there recently, very recently.
Yeah, what's the irony of that? That's my little cousin, man. I'm so proud of him, man. Like he say, every time he lives in Chicago, so so every time he would come to Alabama, that's all he wanted to do was talk football and play football. So to see those kids grow up around that and take it and make it a part of their lives, man, it's exciting, man. I'm proud of that kid.
I got a dumb question.
All right.
150 sounds like a really, really low number. I've seen more drunks in the bus on the university packing a bus. Did he say 150 or did he say maybe 1,050?
I really thought he was referring to the Eastern Illinois contingent.
I think he might have been.
Yeah.
I think he might have
There's
been.
got to be more fans.
There'll be more fans.
Yeah.
There will be.
There's got to be.
For a lot of their fan base, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think Rodney, exactly. I think what Rodney said, he took it as the contingent of
because he did say plus
traveling
parents.
party. That's what he took that as. So, So I'm glad you asked it because I was going to clear that up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure because I don't know what their ticket allotment will be.
Yeah.
But I imagine for a lot of their fans, and Wallace knows this, what a thrill it is for these smaller schools to play at Alabama. Some of these fans are going to say, listen, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, they got to have more.
They'll turn into a holiday treat. It'll be a Christmas gift.
Yeah, he was talking about the contingent. As soon as he said plus the parents, I knew that's what he meant.
Yeah,
so
right.
Isn't our band like 450 alone?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, so
$1 million bands
you got to have more than our band.
You will. They'll have. I imagine they'll have a couple thousand people down here. Would be my guess that will take advantage of that. Where we stand on the break, Bob? All right, let's go ahead and take our final break. Again, if you want to call in on the program and be a part of the show, 205-339-4. I know a lot of people have told me they like picking Wallace's brain, and they like the fact that he engages with the callers. So if you want to call in, and when we come back, we'll continue this football discussion. This is an interesting week because this is the first time since back on August 31st that Alabama lost a football game. And so now the adjustment begins, and I'm going to get into a conversation with Wallace and Rodney about the playoff and how much that looms over this team now with no margin for error left. We'll discuss that next year on Inside the Trenches.
Labor Day has come and gone, but the best beach days are ahead of you on the Alabama Gulf Coast now through Thanksgiving. No one wants to work on vacation, so let iBeach Service do it for you. They'll set up your chairs, umbrellas, and canopies every morning and take them down every evening so you can soak up the calm, the sun, and the peace you deserve. For more information, you can call us at 251-504-0097 or visit us online at ibeachservice.com.
The Law Tigers is once again giving away a custom-built Crimson Tide motorcycle to one lucky fan. This one-of-a-kind bike is a tribute to your favorite team and was built by Area 51 Customs. Go to crimsontidebike.com now for your chance to win.
The fall is a great time to come have a ball at the beach. This is Hunter Harrelson, owner of Beach Ball Properties, letting you know that we have dozens of great condos and houses waiting for you to come down and take advantage of reduced rates, less traffic, no waiting at restaurants, and the beautiful fall weather here in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. Check us out at beachballproperties.com, on Facebook, or call us at 251-968-8896. If you have an investment property, I would love the opportunity to discuss how we can be the best owner-friendly deal on the coast. Come have a ball at the beach.
Macy's just dropped tons of new Black Friday deals, and with more being added every week, you can save on top gifts now, like exclusive beauty sets 50% off, men's and women's PJs 40 to 60% off, handbags 40 to 50% off, plus diamonds 60% off. So come into Macy's, beat the rush, and get your holiday shopping done early. Black Friday starts here at Macy's. Savings off select styles, exclusions apply.
Football is back. Join former Alabama standouts Wallace Gilberry and Andre Smith alongside Tider insiders Rodney Orr and Gary Harris every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Central as Wallace and Andre take you inside their time in the Crimson and White and in the NFL. Come along as they give you an inside look into the Crimson Tide and more. Catch us Monday from 7 to 8 Central on Tide100.9.com and TiderInsider.com and all your social media platforms for Inside the Trenches.
Yeah, I'm from Big Bama. You're not the little one. We got smoke for anybody that wants some. Yeah, we don't do no yapping and we don't do no capping. We from the state where
we're back.
All right, welcome back to Inside the Trenches. There we are. Wallace Gilberry, Rodney Orr, and Gary Harris. And we're going to get into conversation in a moment about the playoff. But first, on the Inside the Trenches hotline, we got the Cowboy checking in. Hey, Cowboy.
How's it going, Gary and Rodney and Andre and Wallace? How you guys doing?
Doing great, my friend.
I got you.
Doing great, Cowboy. How are you, friend?
Well, Wallace, when you were at Alabama, did y'all practice ball security drills on punts?
Absolutely. You know, you had some guys catching the punts with 4 balls in their hands. You know, Javier Arenas, man, he was one heck of a punt returner.
Yeah, he was. So that's something that's just standard operating procedure.
Can you, Cowboy?
Right? Yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I can hear you, buddy.
That's standard operating procedure.
Standard operating procedure, Gary. So you see those guys. I mean, a lot of those guys, they try to use, anything to get in their head because even though it looks simple, I've even tried to get back there and feel one of those punts, Cowboy, and that's not an easy job to do. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Oh yeah, there's guys that have talent for it. Some of the best running backs can't do it, but some can. Some
I remember.
can't.
I remember one day, Cowboy, I was with the Cincinnati Bengals, and we had been. It was a hot day in training camp. I think we had ran almost 20, 30 gashers. Coach Marvin calls us all up and he says, if Wallace Gilberry can field his punt, practice is done.
Put the pressure on you, Wallace.
I looked at all the guys, Cowboy, and I told them they better drink another glass of water because we're going to be out here for another hour.
Yeah, I thought
you did it.
Nah, Cowboy, you gotta know your limitations, Cowboy, and that wasn't one of mine.
Hey, Cowboy, if you want to have some fun sometime, and you may have done this, I've done it. In fact, I used to work in the TV business with a former SEC punter. Rodney knows that and Wallace has done it in practice. Rodney may have done it too. Go out with a college punter if you find one or know one, and get out on the field and let them punt you the football. And you'll get an idea just how hard it is to catch one of those things, how high it goes, the spin on it.
Absolutely.
Just to get under it. It's hard just to get under the thing.
Gary, we take these punters and kickers for granted, but these guys play so many games with these balls. Like they can have a special spin on it to when it hits your hand, it flips another way and spins. So it's so much, it's so much that goes into it that we take for granted.
Hey, and then if you got to catch a punt from a left footer, that's totally different.
You get it, Cowboy. But Cowboy, all that being said, though, Cowboy, our job is our job, and that's making no excuse for Ryan Williams or anybody that's putting the ball on the ground. We have to secure the ball. The ball is our prized possession, and without that ball, we don't win the game. So with all that being said, we have to find a way to secure the ball.
Yeah. Did you get in that Oklahoma game when you were a freshman at Wallace in 2003?
No, sir. I redshirted that whole year. I actually snuck onto the game in Hawaii and almost lost my red shirt. That's another story for another day, actually, too.
Oh, Lord.
But that Oklahoma game, I had to sit on the sideline and wait for my chance for that following year to get out there and get some of that, Cowboy.
I got you. Well,
Andre's not with us tonight, Cowboy.
Andre's on the road. Yeah, he's on the road recruiting tonight, so we let him off tonight.
I'm sorry, I just kind of dialed in late. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. We appreciate you dialing in.
I was going to ask him what is some drills that they could do to, for blocking technique to help with the pass rush, like Oklahoma brought Saturday, because they were bringing guys in different gaps and giving you one look and bringing another way, and they're really tough. And Todd did a great job with his linemen.
Yeah, Todd Bates has done a good job out there. Wallace, you can answer that as a defensive guy, but you know what the offensive linemen do. They work on everything.
That's
imagine.
Yep, and that's our Cowboy is to just disguise. The longer you can hold that disguise, the better chance that off rusher has to get into the quarterback. And what you saw Saturday was a master at work. Their defense was their defense point. They hid their schemes, they hid the disguises, and then, like just what you said, when the ball snapped, no one kind of knew who to rusher in it, and they almost got home on one time, even on that hit where Ty lost the ball. It was like the guy was so disguised, no one picked him up.
Appreciate the phone call, my friend, and always enjoy you checking in with us. All right, we're going to get to another phone call here on the Inside the Trenches hotline, 205-339-4953, and Ken is with us. Good evening, Ken. You're on with Wallace and Rodney.
Good evening, Ken.
Came up. The sun came up the next day, didn't it?
It did. It sure did.
I thought it was apocalyptic, man. I ain't gonna lie. Guys, it was a total team. The defense played out of their minds. They really did. I give Womack his due and the guys on the defense, but you know, you can point to so many things on the offense. O-line wouldn't, receivers not getting open, running backs whiffing on blocks, running backs not making cuts when they had open field, Ty not stepping up, Ty not getting rid of the ball. Special teams, I mean, that was the biggest area to me, though, because, look, their field goal kicker made 3 out of 3. We kept giving them short field. We missed a tackle on the punt. The guy returns it all the way back to our 29 to set up. I mean, I know Lottie Brooks made the tackle, which was a great effort. Not only that, we fumble. Ryan fumbles on special teams. Then we missed the field goal right before the half that would have been the game winner if we just make that, because that would have put us at 24 with the second half touchdown. I'm just saying, the special teams, I know turnovers, and that's the difference, because if you double up somebody in yards, which we almost did, about 20 yards shy of doubling them up. I'm just saying, what changed, and I mean, it was right there. I don't know. I see guys that keep playing too, Wallace. Formby, I agree he's better at guard than tackle, but man, he whiffed on Ty's interception. He took the wrong. He turned out blocking. I mean, I don't know what he was doing. Of course, Horton got hit. No flag was called, and that cut his route short, and then it became a pick six. So, I mean, it was just there for the taking. But let me ask you this: did y'all? Because I can't remember. I've been watching Alabama football since 1972. Okay, but I can't remember when you was there, Wallace. Did y'all keep playing some of the same guys that wasn't producing?
Not at all. Not at all. And that was the one thing that I like about Coach Schuler. He didn't really too much play into that seniority or freshman. He played the best on the roster. And, our roster wasn't as stacked as the Alabama was, moving on after he left. Best guy. And that's yeah. But I'm here to tell you, though, Ken, NIL has changed. When you're paying a guy, $500,000 a year or 1.2 a year or even 50,000, it plays into his plan. It's just like the NFL. Like when you draft a guy in the first, second, third round, me being a free agent, I mean, you look at all the guys that was drafted in front of me, from Glenn Dorsey to Tyson Jackson, all these first rounders, and you go look at ours, pull out close. And yet I had to, for a roster spot. So that pay to play plays a big effect and a big part of what we're seeing.
Great point, Wallace.
Yeah, it's too much on the coaching, because I mean it's dictating the games too much. Because look, Daniel Hill, 15 carries, 60 yards, 5 receptions, 37 yards, 2 touchdowns rushing. Jam not anywhere near that. I think he had 7 for 21. But I'm just saying, you got a guy that's 250-ish pounds. You run him 15 times. If you run that guy 25 plus times, let me ask you, Wallace, is your ass wanting to hit him at the end of the game?
When I saw the kid, I saw Hill at one of the A-Day games, and the first thing came to my mind was Trent Richardson, Derrick Henry, his size and his girth and how he carries his weight. You wouldn't think he's 250 just by looking at it. And and I don't want to hit a guy like that in the fourth quarter and charged up and been his legs and all the everything is he's immune. I absolutely not.
Right. And those DBs and linebackers, I'm not saying they were small, but man, they ain't gonna want to hit that guy in the fourth quarter if you run him the whole time.
They don't want that in their face. Nah, that kid fall for it every
brother.
You see that coming down, for 4 quarters continuously. Eventually, they start getting out and finding a reason to get out the way, Ken.
Right. Yes. That's where I think we need to improve. If we would let Hill run and beat those guys down all game long, go to Auburn with that game plan, and it opens up for Ty. Because Ty has to be perfect on every throw. If he's not perfect, we don't matriculate the ball down the field, man. I love y'all's show. Y'all have a good one, and y'all continue talking about it. But it's just upsetting when you see something working, and then we go to some trick formation or 2 wides outside the numbers, and Ty gets hit because we don't have enough protection in. I mean, it's just crazy football to me, man. Maybe I'm wrong.
Thank you, Ken. I'm tired of the gadgets myself,
Wallace.
He brought up a great point too. So I'm gonna follow up on a couple of things. First, on Ken's point about it was cute for a while, but when it's 4th and 1 and you got to put Proctor in the backfield, and then you run a reverse to Brooks, and hell, he went so wide. I mean, I was worried he was gonna get the first down. I mean, I think people are burning out on that, Wallace. I mean, they want to see you line up and make a yard, dude, without having to go into trick formation.
I don't even want to show, Gary. We talked about this last week. We talked about it a week before. It was cute to week 1. When it becomes a point of emphasis in your playbook, in your play calling, that's kind of it's a reason why those guys are 3'6". It's a reason why they're that big. And so when you're trying to get that, man, again, it's like we talked about last week, Rodney. What are we hiding?
Yeah. No. Hey, look, I tell you what I did like, though. I did like them lining up.
Direct snapping to number 4.
Snapping it to him. They weren't stopping him. I mean, Wallace, when he ran that direct snap into the middle there at the goal line, they ended up 5 yards in the end zone. I mean,
you take the quarterback out, you got an extra blocker.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was no doubt about it.
Ronnie, another thing that Ken brought up that Wallace touched on, and Wallace is dead on, and I'm going to get you to expand on it, and Wallace can as well. There's so much that we don't know. Now when we see players playing and people are saying, why is that guy still in there? Wallace touched on this. But listen, dude, there are agents, there are shoe representatives, there are deals being cut, and we don't know what's promised out in the offseason to get guys to stay on the roster, that sometimes maybe he's not the best player, Rodney, but we know this is going on all over the country where guys have agreements about playing time.
Yeah.
And coaches want to honor that.
Yeah. Well, and again, I'm probably not the best one to answer that. But you're right. I mean, there are, and I mean, like you said, there's contracts and all of this, but again, I think that, when you look at, and he mentioned Wilkin Formby, I think Wilkin did a
good job at guard.
He did a good job. He graded 89%, I think it was, is what Pro Football Focus had him. Now, again, you got to understand, he shifted between guard and tackle a few times this year. He has, had some good moments at tackle, but I think when you look at Wilkin, this move for him inside, I think is the best move for him, Gary. I think because he is much more comfortable, on the interior.
Well, Wallace, you brought it up. So you're a former player. It is going on. There are deals that are cut with agents, with shoe representatives, and sometimes coaches get themselves a little bit leveraged. I'm not saying, I don't know. I can't give you specific examples.
Or out leverage, Gary.
Yeah. And so that's part of it now. That's part of the reality of college football. That's part of the reality of college football.
These marketing deals or are driving these scholarships. I've mentored. I'm actually mentoring a guy right now. I'm not going to say his name, but he's actually dealing with that same type of scenario. The guy in front of him has had a horrible season, but the NIL and playing time that he's getting right now. And I'm telling him, like, kid, that's what you get in the NFL. That's, you got a guy that's making $150,000 a week. I mean, he's gonna regardless of how he's stinking it up, they rather him stink it up and sit on the sideline and make that money. So that's just what it is. It's the game that we've come to, and we just gotta, honestly, Gary, we have to, and maybe that's another reason why Coach Saban wanted to get out the way, because I know for a fact, regardless of how much money somebody get, I just can't see Coach Saban letting somebody stink the field up because they're making, X, Y, Z off the field. I just can't.
I can't either. And I do think that had a lot to do with it. All right, guys, before we close it out, I promised that I'd ask about the playoff. And Rodney, I'll start with you. Again, you got this week's game, you got Auburn, but we know that this team's goal is to get in that college football playoff. How much is this weighing on them, if at all? Do you think they're able to separate what they have to do in the immediacy to reach that goal, or is something now that they've lost an extra game, do you think that it's got them worried?
Well, I mean, I think they're human. There's got to be some pressure there. And I think that's where coaching comes in. I mean, you've got to find a way to get their minds focused and keep it on what they have to do to prepare for the next game. And then, of course, Auburn, like we've talked about. But I think this is a lot of pressure on Alabama going down there. Look, Auburn they've got an interim coach. Mm-hmm. They can play loose. They've got nothing to lose. For whatever reason, even though they lost again, they're feeling really positive. And they've got a good team. They lost a lot of close games. They've got a chance in this game. Mm-hmm. And I think there is a lot of pressure on Alabama going down there. Again, we talked about it would be DeBoer's first time down there. Look, I know that Ty Simpson, he handled that atmosphere at Georgia really well, but he's lost some confidence now. He's going into this game down there. It's going to be a different animal for him too.
Wallace, you think they're feeling the pressure to get in the playoff?
Well, absolutely. And just back up a little bit on this game right here, this Iron Bowl game. The winner of this game, controls the recruit in the state. And we all know if you don't win recruit in the state of Alabama, it's hard to win the Iron Bowl and the Iron Bowl and playoff line. So I definitely think there's pressure on our team, because who wants to be sitting back and saying, well, if Georgia lose or if Texas A&M wins, and no one wants those scenarios. We want to be outright. This is we've earned it. Here it is. We don't want to be the guys that's getting, on the bubble, getting voted in, and we're sitting on the couch and all the fans and everybody's mad because, we missed the boat. So do I think the level of alarm is, a level 10? No, but I do think that they're thinking about it in the back of their mind.
All right, great place to end it, guys. Boy, terrific conversation tonight. You guys were outstanding. Alabama gets Eastern Illinois. A reminder, that's a 1:00 kick on Saturday at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. There is no over-the-air television. You'll have to have the ESPN Plus or the SEC Network Plus package to get it. You can stream it on your wireless device, or if you have the subscription, you can watch it on your TV. But it will not be on cable or over-the-air television, so make a note of that. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you, Wallace. Thank you, Rodney. Hopefully next week, Dre will be back with us. Thank you, Bob. This has been Inside the Trenches. If you're interested in finding out more, go to the Inside the Trenches social media pages, and you can watch the show every week on the Inside the Trenches YouTube channel. For Rodney Orr and Wallace Gilberry and Audio Bob, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.
The Law Tigers is once again giving away a custom-built Crimson Tide motorcycle to one lucky fan. This one-of-a-kind bike is a tribute to your favorite team and was built by Area 51 Customs. Go to crimsontidebike.com now for your chance